Or we are live. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of the Embracing Joy podcast. And we have our very, very special guest with us today, Sainte Billings, who is a CPA, and she's going to talk to us about building wealth without burnout and financial joy for high achievers. It's such a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I love the concept of this podcast is finding joy in all the different pieces of lives that make
Mhm.
us feel wholesome and the parts that make us feel a little out of whack as well. But there's joy in them. So
Mhm.
uh,
Yeah, we can find joy in all the moments. So it's a pleasure to have you because you're such a joyful person as well. And you can tell us in the financial aspect with your expertise more about that because it can be it can be stressful thinking about financial planning or finance anything. The word finance can just be stress.
yeah, for
And
sure.
then, yeah, and then a lot of our population, the people, our audience they have a lot of things going for them, maybe in work, but they may not know how to get their finances together, or it, or because it can be a term of stress, like from childhood, that you just don't even want to think about. So it's such a pleasure to have you on to see, like, how can I do this in a way that's not stressful, that I know I have a plan, or and try to find joy in taking care of it because it's something that we need to take care
Yes, yes. Oh, sorry, I didn't want to cut you off.
of. No, no, you're fine. If you want to add something before, after, if you want to add something, go ahead, and then I'm going to go into your bio.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, I have so much to say, but yes, I guess to validate your point, it is a point that brings a lot of anxiety to people, and to the point where they're like try to make it out of sight, out of mind, and the only thing with this particular part of your life is that it doesn't go away just because you're not thinking about it. So it tends to come back, and the least um, and the time you want it to come back least, all right? And so all that does to you is just it just revalidates all those anxieties that you had around it, but it's really because you avoided it for so long. It just gets worse and worse. So
Mm,
should go into the bio, and we'll tap more into that.
okay, thank you. So that's why this episode is so important. So Saint Billings, let me tell you about her. She's a CPA and she's a strategic tax advisor, an entrepreneur, and she's the founder of Ampliara, an advisory firm helping purpose driven professionals and business owners align their finances with their vision. She's a former EY tax manager and she's a licensed CPA. Saint now uses her expertise to help others minimize their taxes and build wealth and experience more freedom and joy in how they manage their money. Thank you. Yeah, so you're definitely the person to help us.
Yeah.
So before we get started into the questions, there's a game that we play, which is called it's called convergence. So we say the first word that comes to our mind. It's a warm up game so that we can get warmed up into the practice.
Okay.
You say that, and people listening, think of the first word that comes to your mind. Maybe you'll match before we do.
Okay.
um, so we'll say the first word that comes to mind, and then we keep on saying that consecutively until we say the same word. So an example would be if I said apple and you said kite, but then we both said fruit. For some reason, we just happen to say fruit on the next one. So
Okay.
it's easier when you find a word that connects the two, like maybe air or
Mhm.
something that connects the two words.
Okay.
Ready?
So, and we just, is there a letter like that we go by, or you just say something and then we
It's
keep
the
going?
first word that comes to mind. We keep going. So most likely, like it's easier if we say I said backpack and someone said pencil and then we both said school. So it's easier if you say something that's within the category. or a broader category of that word.
Okay, but we
Like,
just keep going.
yeah, you just keep going. We take our time. We just keep going, and it's the whole point is to get out of our head and just to relax. It's okay if it's messed up. It's okay if it's wrong. Just to say the first thing that comes to mind. And then
Okay.
if it takes a while and we don't get it, it's okay. We're just gonna end it and continue with the conversation.
Okay, okay. So don't beat myself up for failing. Okay.
No, no, no. This is a fun game. This is a game. Okay. So on the count of three, you say the first word that just comes to your mind.
Okay.
Oh, one, two, three.
Life.
Wealth came to mind. Okay.
Okay.
Wealth and life. So something that connects those two.
Okay.
Um, one, two, three. Children. What did you say?
I said health. I didn't know.
Oh, that's a good one. So I said health and I said children. You said health and I said children. So something that connects those two.
Okay.
Um, and it could be broader, like it doesn't just and that also comes to mind. Like just what comes to mind. You don't have to think like, oh, these
Okay.
two.
Okay. 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 Okay.
So wealth with children and health.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. One, two, three. Life.
Laughter. I said
I said
laughter.
laughter is a great one. Yeah. So I said life.
Okay.
So
Okay.
something that brings life and laughter together.
Ooh.
The first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
One, two, three.
Oh,
Joy.
wow.
What
Oh
are
my
you
gosh.
gonna say?
Multiple words at once.
Okay, say them.
I had wine and and I had what was the other thing that I had? I forgot. But
That's okay. I had joy.
okay.
Yeah, I just liked the laughter and life can come together and then make life.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You know what? I was thinking wine or comedy. Yeah.
Oh, comedy is a good
Yeah.
one too. Yeah, laughter is comedy.
Okay.
Yeah, so awesome. So
Or
we can, huh?
I was saying, you want to go again, or are we wrapping it up?
Yeah, on that one. It was nice. Yeah. Yeah, so let's go into our questions because we've learned more about you and you have so much experience in helping minimize taxes and build wealth and helping professionals build more financial freedom and so that they can have more joy. Um, so, with that being said, how does financial clarity contribute to a person's overall well-being and joy? Can you give an example, maybe, of when you helped someone and it helped them have more joy overall?
Yeah. I think I guess joy and people find joy in being at peace on
Hmm.
certain things, right? So, for example, one of my clients I spoke to earlier today, she's an attorney and doing pretty well, and but she never actually understood the numbers, like what goes on in the back end. She's like, I know there's money in the account, I swipe and my kids school are paid for, I drive a nice car, I live in the neighborhood that I want, but I didn't realize like something as simple as I didn't realize how last month my business had interest expense of this much, and I didn't realize like I don't feel in control of my money because I couldn't tell anyone how much do I make net or any of that. My bookkeeper is sending me things, but I never look at them, right?
Hmm.
So, and having this session, this conversation, because we're doing a tax assessment for her. So we're not just looking at her what she's doing this year, but we look at past year's tax return, and then we're looking at her financials to date. So just highlighting this is where the bulk of your money is going for the business or whatever. And she got out of the call and we didn't even finish the assessment because we were waiting for some other things. But she's like, wow, like this is what I need. I want to have this every quarter because already I feel more empowered. I know what my goal is, before the year ends. And I know once I make this threshold, I need to talk to you. Or it just makes me feel more in control and therefore more at peace, more at ease. and that brings joy to her because she's a
Mhm.
person. She wants to know, but when it feels so outside of her field, which is law, she avoids it. But if someone breaks it down to her and you meet with her, she doesn't need to go learn accounting. She just needs someone to meet with her quarterly to say this is where things are.
Mhm. I think that's such a great story. And we don't want to be kind of, well, I know myself personally, you don't want to go to a meeting with someone in the finance field, right? Maybe a CPA, maybe a financial advisor, and then they're telling you all these things that you have no clue what they are. Like you don't want to, because it's something else to learn, and it kind of can feel overwhelming because you're all these new terms and all um, these new things that you haven't thought about, but it's also so important to learn because it's your money. So you're just like, this is so important to know, but I don't understand these things. So it's great to have someone who will break it down for you, even if you are a lawyer or a doctor or um, even if you are a professional and you're busy, you need someone to kind of like break it down and help you and kind of guide you that way. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just because you're excellent in your field doesn't mean that's something that I want to say ambitious, high achieving women we struggle with. We feel like because I'm you've identified yourself as someone who does everything great, and therefore you don't want to face anything that you feel you're not going to be in your comfort space, right? Because you beat yourself up because you're not dominating in this area. But like simple, we have five fingers on one hand. Like you can, they're all different lengths because you're not meant to be an expert at everything, right?
Mhm.
You can
Mhm.
focus on being an expert in the one thing that you're doing, but when it's time to tap people in, tap people in. I mean, for me, I have marketing. I'm a business owner, and you see all those people teaching, well, I'll show you how to go viral, I'll teach you this, I'll teach you that. But I'm the person that's like, I don't want to learn marketing. There's no way I can invest more time in being a great marketer and still excel in my space where I'm serving my clients. I need to focus my time on the thing that I'm, my zone of genius, and be great at it and know when to tap someone in. When I first
Mhm.
started in my business, I had one of my offers was the judgment free whatever it was, right? It was a judgment free package because I felt like I needed to re-emphasize that because those were my clients, like high achieving women, and you have to kind of preface it by saying there is no judgment here, okay? And then knowing that you're not the only person who doesn't know this thing. So
Mhm.
I hope that kind of touched on what we were talking about, but it's just that ease.
Mhm. Yeah, that's such that helps, like, we can go find someone who will help in that way. And you we judge ourselves a lot as well, like you said. So like letting that go and knowing you don't have to be an expert in this area. You can get help and that's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And the goal, to add on to this, the goal is not for you to learn to be an accountant. It's not for you to learn all those words. When I used to work at EY, they used to have a theme that was better questions, better answers. Sometimes you just need to know the better questions. You need to know what to ask your accountant about, just to give you the basic, right? Hey, how am I doing? Am I looking like I'm going to owe in taxes? And what can we do to prevent that? So you don't need
mhm,
to know all the terms. You just need to know the questions to ask. Or, hey, I heard about this. I heard about some tax strategies. You don't even need to remember the tax strategies. Hey, what's my bill looking like this year? Will it be more than this much? Okay, what are some strategies we can put in place? You sound knowledgeable already.
mhm,
That's okay. Like, and it's that person's job to make it in a way that you understand when they explain it to you. That's
mhm.
what.
Well, thank you for that. That you're just providing us with a lot of wisdom as far as when we meet with our financial people. It's like, we don't have to know those terms. So we don't have to be a CPA. We just need to know which questions to ask. Mhm. Um, so in your experience, how does being more clear or having more clarity in terms of finances, how does that contribute to a person's overall well-being and joy?
Oh yeah, anxiety is a thing. And sometimes we are anxious about things that are not even true with the thought of what if, right? And
Mhm.
so when you're not aware of where exactly, what's the actual status of your income? Because sometimes you have enough, but because you don't know, there's this stress like, what if I run out? What if I this? What if I, when you, if you face it head on and you really, let's run the numbers. How much does it cost to live your life? The life that you want, right? Do you
Mhm.
need, if you're anyone like me, do you need a quarterly person coming in to clean your house, right?
Mhm.
And like, it's not a necessity for everyone, but is that something that would make your life easier for you, right? And then, all right, let's put those numbers, not just the mortgage or utility things that must happen, but what are some must have for you? They're not must have for everyone else, but for you, right? And then
Mhm.
when you face those numbers, now you can confidently say, hey, my job or my business make enough for me to cover this. Or my job or my business don't make enough. This is the goal number. Now, how many clients do I need to get that number? Do I need to renegotiate? Right. And but you're approaching it from a space of power, right?
Mhm.
And so therefore you feel more in control, more in charge. And it's not, it's you, it doesn't, there doesn't need to be any shame to it. Every old, like, finance is, there's a solution. That's my answer. There's a solution. We either need to make more or we need to cut some things out. But there's a
Mhm.
solution. It's not something to run away from.
It's
And
yeah,
there,
it's
like
called a
when
win.
yeah, when you think of it like that, you operate differently. You, the stress, the anxiety is gone because it's not the unknown. The anxiety, the one line I would want people to remember from this, the anxiety comes from the unknown.
Mhm.
To make the unknown known, there's no more anxiety because now there's a solution. There's a path to, so there's a path out.
Mhm.
Does that, did that answer the question?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. What? So speaking of that, like that key phrase that you said, like and anxiety comes from the unknown. So you have to make the unknown known, right? Or find out that unknown known erases the anxiety. What kind of habits or mindset shifts can help reduce this money related stress that we're talking
Yeah. Okay, so I'll give a few. Um, for beginning of the year, for example, or it could be beginning of a quarter. One thing to keep in mind, we can start over at any time. Okay, like people tend to think like I have to wait until next year or I have to wait until next month. You can set your reset at any moment, right? Um,
about?
whenever that reset happens, like, so the first thing I would say is make room for you to reset, whether you're deciding it's going to be quarterly, whether it's going to be monthly, but leave room for resets in between. Don't have huge gaps of, like, oh my gosh, I have to do this by the end of the year. Because if it's a goal, sometimes we shy away from it because it seems so big and there's no, you don't break it out in between. So first
Mhm.
one is like make room to reset. The next one is, now in your reset, outline the goal, outline the vision, right? If it's, hey, I would love to travel to like one international trip this year. I would love to now afford a housekeeper quarterly. I would love to like register for this, whatever the case is. Write it down and then break out, how do we get to this ending? What is the total? We're talking finance here. So what is the total cost that this will require of me? And if this needs to happen by Q2, that means I have 2 quarters to make this happen. This how much money needs to come in, right? So map it out. That's my second thing.
Mhm.
First thing
Okay.
is make room for reset. Second thing is map it out.
Is that what? So what is the reset exactly? It's creating the goals. That's like
The reset, like the first one is making room for it, right? Making room, like telling yourself, I'm not giving myself one full year. I'm giving myself like monthly, like decide, determine how often are you going back to the drawing board.
okay.
Essentially, it's
It's
the
like on
decision.
board with the goals, right? Like
Yeah,
setting your
the
financial.
financial goals and
Yeah.
reviewing how are we so far? What did we
Mhm.
set last month or last quarter? Did we meet
Okay.
it? What are we looking forward to? It's making the room to have that honest conversation with self or whatever. And if that doesn't seem appealing, like, oh, I don't want to think about money every month. Well, make it appealing. Make it a finance date. So on this day, you set it out in your calendar. Like the fourth Saturday of every month is finance day. So you start aligning it with things that make you happy. If it's a glass
Mm-hmm.
of wine, good music, you set the mood, the things that make you feel at ease, you set those things in order. Have your like tray of snacks that you like and your laptop. This is my finance date, right? So the first thing is just making room for that. Invite those things in, like making room that this is going to happen quarterly, monthly, or bi-weekly, whatever it looks like for you. And then the second one is in those resets, map it out. Map, like, outline what is your goal, and then break it down. What needs to happen in order for this to succeed, in order for me to meet this goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you realize, oh, these trips that I want to have before the year end, it's going to cost me 10K. All right. So, do I already have that based on the budget? Will I already have that naturally, or do I need to set aside some? Do I need to add another an income stream for it? Do I need
Mm-hmm.
to, decide, like, determine, like, assess it, and determine what needs to happen for me to meet this goal?
Mm-hmm.
And and you map it out, right? If it's like five more clients, one more client, one offering I can have, or I need to negotiate, I need to when you ever heard, like, the time when they're talking promotion or bonuses or whatever, and people sometimes don't even know what to ask for. They're just throwing a number out there. But if you had looked at your numbers, the things you want to that will make your life feel full, at the very minimum, I'm not budging for less than 10K an increase or 20K an increase. Having those conversations, and, like, with self. And I'd say, last but not least, so we identified what needs to happen. Last but not, like, and I said, make it something exciting that you look forward to. So keep thinking, how do I make this more exciting for me to look forward to? And then,
Mm-hmm.
last but not least, when necessary, bring on an expert. The expert for, like, if, for example, you're like, hey, I'm making a lot of income, I don't want to pay 50,000 in taxes this year, it's time for me to talk to a tax strategist. Or, hey, I have a lot of anxiety, not just around money, but around other things, I need to include a therapist, I need to actually lock in with someone that's their expertise. So identify, so that third part is knowing when money needs to be spent, so that you can have expert help, and then determine what is that ROI for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd say those are a good three step.
Yeah, those are great. So, yeah, I think it can be nerve-wracking initially to spend money to get services, depending on how you experience money. So that's a mindset change that has to happen. Like, there's value in getting services for your money because they can give you a much better return on investment, that ROI, than you could get trying to spend hours learning how to do things on your own.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, to speak to that mindset, for me, I'm very logical. So the mushy things don't typically get me, but it's like, when we talk numbers, I'm all ears, right? Put a number on how much your time is worth. So, and don't just get a random number. Look at what your paycheck is now, divide
Hmm.
it, and see, this is how much your hour is worth. And anything that, and when you're considering paying someone, it's okay to ask questions. You need to interview your CPA, at, like, see what is the return on investment. Like, yes, you're doing my tax return, but can we do some planning? How can you make sure that I don't have to pay so much in taxes, right? If you're paying, for example, was is there a freeze? If you're paying, for example, like, for us, we have a tax assessment that we do for our client. If they pay for that, there's a $10,000 savings guarantee. So if we cannot identify $10,000 in savings for you, we give you your money back for your investment. That's like four times the investment. Something like that, you can quantify it, like, okay, this, if I'm spending this much, this is how much this person is going to save me.
Hmm.
It might be worthwhile for me to spend that, right? if we're talking health, I was talking about a therapist earlier.
Mhm.
Well, think about how much time do you spend being anxious and how that keeps you away from getting other things done. How many hours is being spent in like this terrible state of mind? And then you multiply that by your hourly rate. Is it worth it? Do you see how much money you're losing? How much you're losing every time that the longer you stay in that state? Then yes, it's worth paying to go to therapy, right?
Mhm.
Everything for me, 90% of things can be quantified. You can't quantify joy, right? But there are a lot of things, but you can quantify the things that when you're not joyful, the time that you spend being sad and what's that keeping taking away from you, right?
Mhm.
Family. You can quantify things. Like you can reverse engineer a lot of things and put a number on it and see how much you're giving up. And a lot of times maybe some things won't be worth it, but some things likely will be, and then you move forward with those things.
Mhm. Wow, thank you for that. So we're up to our last question, which is about what financial decisions do you believe reflect more intentional living for ambitious professionals? I think I know what you're going to say.
What do you think? Let me see.
From our talk so far, making sure that they have a CPA or a financial expert in their corner to help them, um, kind of like as far as their goals, and also doing their own intentional, um, either quarterly or monthly, um, reset as far as their financial plan.
Yeah, I think I'd say with the latter first, right? Like, we're talking intentional habits is making the decision to face the numbers.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's the first thing. Making the decision to face the numbers. Whatever it is going to tell you what to do next. It's better for you to know what to do next than go blindly and be blindsided by the worst fear, which just increases the fear because now it's like, yeah, just like I knew it, I would hate this thing, and it is because we did nothing about it, right? So first thing first, before you think of CPA, before you think of anything, decide to face the numbers. Maybe that looks like you doing it on your own if you can just look at your account or whatever, but maybe that first step does include an expert where you're like, I don't know what I'm reading, can you explain to me my P&L, can you walk me through this balance sheet, what's happening there, right? But at the
Hmm.
very least, face them. That's the first thing I would say.
Thank you. So, with that, we're wrapping up. And I know what is the one thing that you would want our audience to take away that are listening?
Yeah, I'd bring back that line. Anxiety, a lot of times the anxiety lies in the unknown. Once you right, once you face it and you look at it, the anxiety reduces, right? It goes away because now the fear was of all the things that could be, and is possible probably not.
Hmm. That's so true.
Hmm.
So, now we're on our wrap up questions. Saint, who is a model for joy in your life, and why are they a model for you?
Model, oh, okay. Model for joy. Actually, recently, maybe in the last year, I met a woman, and she's so joyful. Like she has so much joy. Like you meet her, you don't know what's gonna happen. She's like, hey, like she's just super happy. You don't know what's gonna happen next. She invited me to no, someone else invited me to an event, and she was there too, and I was like, hey, she's like, oh my gosh, hi, how are you? And sure enough, at the end of the event, when everybody left, she had some. She's like, I'm just going to dance. Do you want to join me? And I'm like, you brought a flag. And she's just filled with like the joy of the Lord. She's Christian, and she's a businesswoman. She's a realtor, and this person actually, when she finally shared, well, she would share some things on social media about her journey. Like her mother committed suicide when she was 12, and the more she tells you about her story, you're like, wow, this is someone who made the choice to be joyful, because
Hmm.
so much darkness that she grew around.
Mhm.
So I think that's absolutely beautiful, and it's just a reminder that we can choose joy. So yeah, so
Yeah, I love
it's
that.
an encounter, but it has that impact on me that I can't think of anything else when I think of joy.
Great example. Definitely a wonderful example. If you were building a cake of joy, it's metaphorical cake. So,
Uh-huh.
like, what would be the top three ingredients?
Okay. For me, it's God,
Mhm,
spirituality,
mhm,
and okay. Oh, top three ingredients: God, spiritual, loved ones. Can I put
mhm,
that? Yeah,
mhm,
I love community. Like, yeah,
mhm,
loved ones and abundance.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Abundance in all ways.
And always because it allows me to spill over and like that joy can change someone else's life and then it makes me even more happy to see
Mhm,
the impact that it's having. Yeah, because when we have restrictions on we're barely covering our own stuff, it's hard for you. Like first it adds anxiety. And then it keeps you from thinking, like it keeps you on the just enough versus yeah, versus when you're in abundance, you're naturally think beyond yourself. That's what I would hope, right?
mhm.
I would hope people are not in abundance and out here like, oh,
Well,
it's
it's
me.
abundance mindset, right? So you have to have both the abundance and the mindset of abundance. Yeah,
Yes, you're right. You're right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What about you? What do you have in yours?
Because you could be so rich and then just, have a scarcity mindset and just
Mhm.
not.
That's true. You think it's gonna run out anytime. That's true. What do
Yeah.
you have in your cake?
My cake, thank you. It changes. So my cake,
Yeah, that's good.
it's gonna be faith, like God, spirituality, the same. It is self-compassion, like, as far as being my own best friend and treating her well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it is um family, just like my family. Yeah. I think that's what I'm thinking on.
It's
Yeah.
good. This is so
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. There's lots of great cakes of joy. So that's the end of our episode. If you want to add anything, well, if you want to learn more about St. Billings, if you're in Florida and want to work with her, I'm not sure if you offer services outside of Florida. Do you?
Yeah, I have clients all over the US and some clients who are US citizen who are living abroad. And so that too,
Nice.
yeah. It's
Nice.
tax.
How can they reach you?
Yeah, so you can on IG is the name of my business at Ampliara, Ampliara, or Saint the CPA. That's on IG. I'd say phone number 954-479-1316. And you guys can always email us at saint at ampliara.io.
Mm. Well, thank you so much. This was a great episode. Thank you for everyone that's listening. Make sure to tune in for our next episode. We release the recorded episodes every Friday. We're also on Spotify and listen so that you can embrace more joy. Take care.
Awesome.
Bye.